A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine grower. He takes away every branch in me that does not bear fruit, and every one that does he prunes so that it bears more fruit. You are already pruned because of the word that I spoke to you. Remain in me as I remain in you. Just as a branch cannot bear fruit on its own unless it remains on the vine, so neither can you unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever remains in me and I in him will bear much fruit, because without me you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me will be thrown out like a branch and wither. People will gather them and throw them into a fire, and they will be burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you want, and it will be done for you. By this is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit and become my disciples." The Gospel of the Lord. The Gospel passage that I just read to you is from Mass for today. And the combination of the Gospel and the first reading are really an important reminder of the role that the church plays in our lives. The Gospel is this great reminder that we need to stay united to Jesus, and that He prunes away any part of us that needs transformation so that we can bear more fruit for Him. It's that whole idea of union with Jesus and transformation through Christ. We remember in a special way that through the church we experience this union with Jesus. Through baptism, through the sacrament of reconciliation. We're nourished in many ways through the Holy Eucharist and the blessings of the community, right? And so it's a beautiful reminder of the church. And also the first reading for today's Mass is from the Acts of the Apostles. And in this reading we see that there's a debate in the early church. A number of those who converted to the faith from Judaism felt that non-Jews who converted to Christianity needed to observe the Jewish practices, because of course Jesus was Jewish and Christianity came out of Judaism, and so they believed that anyone who comes into the church needs to practice the sort of the Jewish practices, the Jewish observances, and so the church had to get into this bit of a debate, and tomorrow's gospel shows Peter's response. But it reminds us of the importance of that the authority of the apostles had in the early church. And from that authority we see, of course, the bishops that came from the apostles, the apostles' successors, we say. And if you look through the history of the church, you can see that in different times that the church has had to go through different debates and to try and discover, what is the truth in this particular situation. And in order to resolve that, the church will often look at the scriptures as well as the tradition that's been handed on from the apostles forward. And so the bishops within the church have this special authority to interpret and to correct teaching. And they're given that authority through the apostles. And they carry out that authority in the church today so that we can be guided, just as the apostles guided the early church. And so we see that the church nourishes us, it strengthens us, it unites us to Jesus. And the church also helps us to stay on the straight and narrow, right? To understand properly what it means to follow Jesus. How to understand current events and current debates in light of Jesus' revelation, in light of the teachings that's been handed on to us through the apostles. In a special way, we ask Our Lady's prayers for the entire church today as we celebrate Our Lady of Fatima. Our Lady of Fatima is this wonderful set of visions that was received by three poor children in Portugal. And she invited them to pray for peace, to pray for repentance in the lives of sinners, and also to pray the rosary. And so I just invite you in your own way today to pray for Our Lady's intercession, for peace in our world today, and for help within the church, for strength for the members of the church, that we can all grow in holiness and be transformed by Jesus Christ, our true vine, our true strength.